Hey-ho! We are back with another spicy episode of 1 Week Love, the show where I find out that double dipping is a sin akin to that of murder. Previous 2 videos did really well, so I'm glad people are enjoying the commentary and my slow descent into losing any semblance of humanity I had. I'm happy to report that after 3 more episodes, I still retain my sanity and faith in humans, because these next 3 episodes weren't exactly the most horrible, and it was a little wholesome even. But before I begin, recently I saw a shot put out by TSL discouraging cyberbullying the contestants. I do want to make it clear that although it can be fun clowning on people that mistreat others, I mean that's literally what I'm doing right now. If you go to their profile threatening and claiming to ruin their real life, or go and harass them, you are really no better than them. If you feel a need to take some action coming from some moral high ground, you really don't have to. You don't have to be an online Batman. I feel things like that take care of themselves. If you're a bad person, eventually the people around you with enough self-respect would walk away. And this is applicable to everyone, including me. If you harass them, you're just going to perpetuate a cycle of bullying that will just continue on. If there's something I've learned over the past year, it's that no one's inherently a crazy person, and the majority, if not all people, are a product of the way they grew up. And yes, based off this show, I do not like Dania or Dion at all, but perhaps they grew up in environments where they were bullied, or places where their insecurities were constantly being reminded to them. And for them, maybe it's natural to make sure you're top of the food chain, so you aren't always the victim. It doesn't discount bullying or the shit they've done on the show, not at all. But hopefully it makes you think about how people can be brought up that way, and perhaps you feel more sympathy and understanding for people that turn out like that, rather than just looking at them with pure animosity. Please don't be a dickhead and harass these girls. I really don't think you have to. You just need to stay away from them. We begin the next episode with Gary manning up like the Sigma male he is, and apologizing for making Casey uncomfortable, explaining that he's quite a physical touch kind of guy, love languages and stuff like that. Casey opens up that she's very protective about herself, and that's why she felt that way. And Casey actually mentions this.
I think it went better than I expected actually. I told myself to be more open and try to go with an open mind. I actually teared up like when we were talking, because I don't know, I felt I was able to share with him stuff and get to know him on a deeper level, and he was actually really nice.
The Gary redemption arc has begun. Dania says this to Sam.
Dania, why every time you open your mouth you so mean to me?
Who said?
Brandon.
I think I know why he said that. Sam becomes the most sought after man in the girls' eyes. Don't say I didn't call it. But for his next date, Sam said he would be interested in Casey. They finish their morning activity and take some time to talk to one another. Apparently both Dion and Oliver were so excited to see each other the next morning that they FaceTimed the night before, as if they haven't already seen each other for 48 hours prior to that. And probably God knows how long before they came onto the show.
Dion is like...
No, but when she Oliver, she like a bit different.
What an honest romance built on interdependency, publicly showing that authentic love they have for one another. They go on to the next activity where they cook fried rice and dumplings. Dion and Dania lose their shit when they put rice into the frying pan.
I knew I was doing it. You see the rice? Okay.
I think I never got ice cream for teacher.
Dania feeds Oliver an egg, and they put this very hesitant interview from Oliver afterwards.
She felt like she prefers to just have breakfast with me only. I think that's what she expressed. But I thought that this thing's not really it shouldn't be that exclusive. I think I do sort of support the idea of just getting to know the others also.
It's kind of like one of those PR messages that you hear all the time in Singapore. Although 24 out of 34 ministers in 2021 studied in the top 3 junior college institutes, with quite a number of these ministers going on to overseas colleges for undergraduate and graduate studies, every school is indeed a good school. Dion says that she thinks Oliver is very reserved and might not be the most comfortable with her just yet to share his thoughts and feelings. It must have been very uncomfortable for him to plant that kiss on your ample cheek and FaceTiming you that night as well. A night where the activities ended at 4 AM, very sus. Gary burns himself with boiling water when he tries to transport the steamed dumplings and just brushes it off like the giga chat he is.
What? No, slippery.
I imagine Gary is like those anime protagonists that gets flung through 10 buildings and leaves a 10-kilometer crater when he falls to the floor, and he just gets up like, ha! Now we're talking. Dania brings up Gary again to the other girls bar Casey, and Dion reinforces her belief that Gary has no social cues. But it sounds like things have been patched up just a bit. Dania encourages Gary to talk to Casey a bit more to try and win her from Don by
like her impression of you changed so much already in like one conversation, right? If you have 5 more, then will change even more, right? You go and try.
And when I do that, I'm called a pervert. Must be because my NUS GPA isn't high enough. Not enough potential to succeed in life, I guess. Dania promises to be Gary's wingman, so it seems like things are on the up for Gary. They go to Syrian organization to play some old childhood games with the guys going against the girls. And I swear when dudes come together, the collective IQ just drops by 1000. And we just transform into a bunch of monkeys. You know, especially when there's an activity available that's able to draw out the primal energy within us. They end this shot, which confuses me. It literally serves no purpose. It looks like one of those loading screens from video games.
Displayed great teamwork with each other. Now, the moment
Okay, so the activity ends and the girls win the game. The panel goes into sponsorship mode and talks about how the location looks really fun. And yeah, it did look fun. I would really love to try it someday. In a non-related message, this episode was sponsored by Syrian organization. So they go back to Funan and the girls have something up for the boys and they ask them to come over. The girls ask them to take out their clothes and like Superman springing into action, Oliver immediately starts taking off his shirt.
No need change. Just wear whatever you wear. You can.
I wanted a few more.
I'm button a few more, yeah. But you really unbutton, you wear where you wear. Oh my god.
Man just loves getting naked. The girls make the boys choose a shirt that each of them put up and they have to guess who it belongs to. And the winner gets to have their chosen partner as a slave. Oliver thinks his chosen shirt is Dion's because...
Oliver? Last one.
I actually think it's beyond.
Why?
Because it smells like you.
Well, I mean, if you have spicy pheromones like her, I'm pretty sure it's easy to distinguish from others. Man be sniffing the shirt and have his eyes watering like he's cutting onions like... Okay, but turns out that Oliver's sense of smell was on leave that night because that shirt wasn't actually Dion's shirt but Atika's.
Really?
Not my smell.
Hey, I was ripping out.
They go to the next workshop with the dating coach from Gai Gai, and the dating coach gets the girls to smell t-shirts that the guys wore to sleep. The girls make their choice on which is the most pleasant smelling one to them, and it's in this segment that we find out that Sam is really suffering from a severe lack of sleep. Like, look at that, man has eye bags on his eye bags. But don't worry about that, because the musk of the women were the antidote for his sleep debt.
It's very strong. It's like a bottle of perfume.
Sam just teleported.
I want.
Oh my god, why he finds all the girls stinky?
Dion gets playfully mad that Oliver chose the wrong girl twice.
The same girl twice. And it's not me. You think, kissy.
Yeah, his sense of smell was really off that day. Or maybe Dion hasn't been eating enough mala. They identify their attachment styles and we find out that Brandon has an avoidant attachment style. You know, and this explains all the bad dad jokes, as the panel aptly explains.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's been using his jokes.
Yeah, actually.
A shield.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Comfort.
Episode 5 ends with Dania choosing Dion's baby for the next coffee, tea and me selection, and that proves to be the most dramatic thing that happened this episode. So it seems like after episode 4, a lot of drama has been resolved. What could go wrong next? Well, turns out a lot in future episodes from the many comments I received in the previous video. And you know, if you have any remorse for the death of my soul, you would leave a sub to the channel immediately, as my heart finds nourishment in the validation I get from arbitrary numbers on a website. We start on episode 6, and before we get into the recap, I just gotta say, Davika, what is with that outfit? Like, why are you slaying so hard? We stand! Davika, hoo-ha! We begin with Oliver reacting to Dania choosing him for breakfast, and he definitely thinks it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Among the girls, I probably am most comfortable with Casey and Dania. I think I've had a lot of small talks with them. So I mean, of course, aside from Dion, I'm definitely think it's going to be a fun time for tomorrow. Yeah.
Very enthusiastic from Oliver. Gary lands his first dub of the show by not being last pick, as Atika chooses him as her partner. I didn't cover this, but Oliver offers pillows to the girls yet again, which is something recurring across the show.
Would you like a pillow?
Thank you.
Yeah, pillow.
Thank you.
You know, it's for them to easily cover themselves when they're in front of the camera, so it's a good thing, and I feel like I need to commend him for being a gentleman about that. So I shall name him Pillow Center. Casey chooses Sam, Dion chooses Brandon, and Ross gets Don. They rest for the night, and for a second I was wondering why Davika was going to bed like the rest of the cast, until I realized it was just Brandon. They had breakfast and bond through sharing some photos that they selected. Gary gives Atika a performance review.
Perception of you is someone who, while introverted, you are strong, you're independent, and you just want to be a better version of yourself, always.
Yeah.
You have big aspirations, big dreams.
Wow. Aww.
I think that's really commendable, because not everyone can really step up to, you know, what they really want.
Suddenly like performance review.
Sounds very much like the spirit of a financial advisor. I think Dania still thinks the guys are mid.
I don't know, I feel like everyone, no.
Cannot connect with any of us.
As friends can lah, but anything else a bit
They go to a high elements course for their next challenge, and one person gets blindfolded while the other has to guide. Dania unintentionally smashes Sam's face with her right buttock. Two pairs in Don and Casey, and Dion and Pillow Center go through, and the winners will get to go on a date with one another. And in this segment, it really felt like Dion was taking every possible chance to get Oliver to touch her, or you know, just touch him herself.
Ready? Got you. Just go, just do it. Yeah. Can.
Where's the
Okay. Oh my god. You did good.
You know, Dion seems to be quite a touchy person, but it seems like everyone's fine with that. Sounds like being touchy, it's a little fine sometimes, depending on the circumstance. You know, sometimes it's cute, sometimes you're a pervert. And of course, Queen Davika very poignantly points this out.
Right. They got a lot more skinship also.
Yeah.
Wow, he really like hugged him, you know. I was like, oh!
I don't want to let go, even though she's safe already.
Help!
In this case, it seems that the power of touch and trust has prevailed, as both Oliver and Dion win the challenge. So after this segment, they gear up for dinner, dressing up to the nines, but they were in for a big surprise. Apparently, the producer set them up for a burning bridges type game, and whoever fails to answer a question would have to eat whatever is in front of them. And let's just say that these dishes were not the appetizing kind, more of like the forfeiting kind of culinary creation, so not the most appetizing. Dion starts first, and she has to answer what she thinks the person on her right and left can improve on. And guess who's on her right? It's our anime protagonist, and this is what she has to say for him.
I think maybe you can improve on your social skill.
And this blunt and brute force attack just takes everyone out.
You know, there is a better way of saying that, but you know what?
If I was him, I would feel pretty down though.
Like, look at Brendan, but it gets worse.
I don't know if it's because of the age thing,
Wow, she's digging a hole.
but I think for me, I feel like I never really talk to you much because I cannot relate to you. Yeah. So
Okay.
maybe we can improve on the social part.
I mean, maybe you could improve your social skills to try and relate more to him, or maybe have better social skills so they can convey your thoughts in a more tactful manner. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure Dion has been sort of trained in giving interviews and whatnot because she is a model, and she goes on to say this about Oliver.
Okay, you can improve on your fashion a bit more. Like, hello, where's your blazer?
It's true.
You know, that I agree with. Even when dressing for a fine dining event, he's still trying to get naked, but not as naked as Don though. Ben literally just wore a jacket without a top inside. It's like he has to breathe through the skin of his chest, so it's like empty. Oliver has to choose who he's most uncomfortable with. He's not uncomfortable with anyone, so he takes the forfeit and drinks water that was used to boil the innards used in this segment. And it's here that he shows his goofy side, which is actually quite endearing. Don gets this question.
It's most likely to leave this place single.
Thank you.
Because among the guys, we feel like you're very little sister by. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Dania is 20 years old. That's like the age of my baby brother. He continues his secondary school romance with Casey.
Among this table, I think the most interested is Casey lah, so far. Yeah.
Casey plays Kiss, Marry, Kill, and Gary takes another L for being a nice guy. It really brings me back to that song with Ryan Higa, Kev Jamba, and Chester C. It always feels like this. How many times do I have to hear, "You're a nice guy, but..." I bet it must be taking every ounce of Gary's self-control not to sign up for Hustlers University right after this. Brandon gets a really juicy question.
Who do you think is fake in this room?
I think normally most people would have just taken the forfeit, but Brandon goes all in.
So I just like say whatever my heart told me to say.
Atika.
Yeah, that was really uncomfortable. And we see the reactions from the cast. You know, Gary just shuts down his emotions and goes into NPC mode.
I felt bad for her.
Sam gets so shocked he looks like he got taken hostage again. And Atika tears up a bit at that brutal bombardment from Brandon. You know, be careful what they wish for Atika, because actually she was the one that nudged him to answer in the first place.
It's gonna be fun.
Look at Atika.
Atika wants all the things.
It's Gary's turn and he chooses not to answer this question.
In this room is the last person you'll approach at a party.
Considering how uncomfortable the group felt after Brandon answered, I think Gary's just really being a nice guy here. But of course, his lifelong enemy, Dania, has to react to that in some way.
I'll take this one, Okay.
And Gary really should have just given his true answer. I wonder who that might be. Because his dome contained sheep testicles.
Boiled sheep testicles.
Okay, but it's here that we actually see a very lovely display of brotherhood, as Sam suggests for all the lads to share one part of the balls.
Hey, yeah, we do it.
They do a little yam sing in their own special way, with Gary's being a little questionable.
Balls in our mouths.
But not as questionable as Oliver though.
I've always wanted to try testicles as well.
Oliver, you sussy boy. They end dinner and that's where the episode ends. You know, so far these two episodes haven't been the worst. Like, it's been rather civil. But if there's something that a lot of commenters have pointed out, is the double standards occurring, which has honestly been quite a recurring theme in the show. It's been made very obvious how Gary has to constantly be the one to check himself when girls point things out to him, saying he lacks social cues, social skills, and Gary has been really polite about that. But in this instance, when Atika gets called out by Brandon, you know, whom she was nudging on to answer that question by the way, some thought that Brandon was being ungentlemanly.
I don't know what to react.
It was a date. Yeah, you went out with her. I just don't think it was very nice, but it was so sad.
If I was Brandon, I would have answered.
I would just eat whatever that was down there.
I think as a gentleman Brandon, I would never have done that. I would have just completely eaten that.
I feel it's a good point that you mentioned, like, while Brandon not saying it would have been better for the group. Like, the fact that everybody, she was like, yes. It's like, to me, that's a like,
I get what you mean.
With that. Yeah.
He could have disclaimed it better.
And you know, he could have answered it in a more tactful manner, but at the same time she wanted to know the answer, and when she was the one that got burned, she didn't take it too well. But in some ways, I don't doubt that this would be a sort of lesson that Atika would take away from, and I'm pretty sure that she's someone that would get better from this. You know, after all, as a person, she is the pinnacle of self-improvement. She's a financial advisor, and she will surely be able to bounce back, just like my investment in FTX. In episode 7, they go straight into Dion's date with Oliver, and right out from the gates, they call out Oliver's limited vocabulary.
Yeah, I think that would be cute. I think clouds are kind of cute.
He has one word and it's cute.
Really, thesaurus.com, guys.
But it's in this episode that we finally got to see Oliver's substance as he opens up a little bit. They both have this moment of reflection where they were thinking if they both liked other people.
To ask him, but okay, it was quite interesting. And I also asked him, like, what do you think about Casey? Similar to me on this show, like maybe the body build, the looks, like we have a very typical Chinese look, long hair, center parting. Then so I just asked him, like, maybe were you like ever interested in her? Because I think she's also quite pretty, right? Then I don't know, maybe he likes somebody else.
I'm like, come on, no one's gonna fall for that. You know, sounds like a storyline is being prolonged. They literally come back with interlocking hands. And apparently they did more than that.
Something else happened.
His lips damn red.
I went to sniff his shirt because he sprayed a lot of the Chanel cologne. I really like it. So I went to smell it, I was like, okay, Chanel. Then he said, can I smell yours too? I was like, yeah, sure, and Joe. He didn't smell. He kissed me.
It's not something that I really thought about, like we really strategized. Tonight I'm gonna do it, but I was quite spontaneous. Just out of the blue, like I felt like, oh, this was the right time.
That We went up. Why am I looking like that?
You sneaky devil. I was watching you guys the entire time. I didn't see it. When was this?
Yep, so apparently they kissed and that's how it went down. In other circumstances, without prior consent, that might have been sexual assault. You know, but I think it's okay because Oliver is hot. They go to the next coffee, tea and me selection, and initially it was the guy's turn to choose, but they tricked the cast and swapped, so any pre-selection goes down the drain. Casey gets tricked by Oliver into picking him first because he gave her some mixed signals, and Dion really did not react too pleasantly to this.
Okay, like, just go, like, he's so handsome, man. Then, yeah, I'm totally fine. I mean, she's also very pretty and I'm really okay, man. It's just,
Take note of this because I think it's going to be important. Atika chooses Sam, and we get to see the pillow center in action again.
Okay. Hey, what's up? Wanna guess who matched with who?
wow, downstairs. Oh my god.
I think Nadia is with Gary.
Next is Dania's turn to choose, and without a sliver of hesitation at all, she chooses the one that's not Gary.
Danya, please step forward. Who would you like to have breakfast with tomorrow?
Oh, she chose Brandon!
I feel like if she had a choice between Gary or the literal devil, she would still choose not Gary. So Gary ends up with Ross, which is good because that's who he was gonna go for anyway. They go back to the rooms and Atika was not taking being called fake really well. Quite a shame because that's not what Brandon really meant when he chose her.
You called her fake and it was something that I think seemed to have bothered her.
But then now I feel bad. It's like, I didn't mean it that way.
It's the word lah. What he was trying to describe.
Like different.
Yeah.
Like, you know, portray themselves differently in front of different people.
Yeah.
He really did not explain that clearly enough.
And obviously there's a bit of miscommunication there from Brandon's side. We move to coffee, tea and me the next morning, and turns out prata with sambal is the superior option.
And I don't know if you tried before, prata with sambal.
Prata with sambal?
That is the best choice, sister.
Oh really?
I support you.
Really?
Prata
I've
with
tried it
sambal.
before.
Icon, you are queen.
Thanks Fauzi, I'll have to try that soon. Gary gets bro-zoned in a more elegant way from Ross.
I love seafood.
It's okay. Technically they say opposite attracts, right? So that means for us, we are bros.
Brozone, let's go.
Don and Dion start making a lot of noise.
Hey, can you hear them?
Oliver gets a little bit unsettled, you know, but turns out he wasn't the only one unsettled.
The only reason why I give Sam a chance precisely because they think that I was his number one. I feel that maybe I'm more attracted to Sam. I think I mentioned before, I find guys who can play or sing, play guitar or sing is very attractive to me. I think I tried talking to him, but I guess he wanna know other girls first.
How do you know that he was wrong? The food is shocking. I didn't attract to somebody. I thought that Ross is like girls.
Like at first when like I was talking to Sam like during breakfast, right, I asked him like who's like one. He said Rose, but then now apparently like things changed.
So she just cancel him out. Let's cancel him out lah.
I don't think like Mini.
Casey brought it up with all of us, including Rose, and then like could tell she was a bit like sian lah.
Oh.
Dun dun dun. And this brings us to the next arc that's going to come up. So Ross tells Atika that Sam's first choice swapped from her to Casey. And you could tell that she wasn't really feeling too good about it, because apparently Casey was the one that relayed this information. I mean, I will give it to her. You know, if I was told by some other guy that the person I like prefers him over me, or replace that with the person I like telling me that they like someone else and they only see me as a friend. That would really trigger my trauma. So it's time to cook dinner, and this time only 5 of them were involved. Gary finds a new role on the show by being the second narrator besides Love Cupid herself.
I think that's probably my first time trying to cook Indian cuisine, and I think all of us were very calm and collected. Everyone had their own dynamics, and I know that Atika likes to cook alone, or at least be the one that's having the, iron fist.
Don and Oliver become childhood best friends.
Yeah, Atika judging them.
What is going on? What they do is a chicken.
Teamwork. 4 hands.
Today cooking quite fun. Made all the furs.
I feel like a kid.
dudes, guys, we are simple creatures. We find entertainment and joy in the simplest of things. You know, whether it's squeezing some breast, chicken breast, or pounding some chicken in a bowl. Yeah, we derive joy from very simple things. Oliver is still a sassy baka. But honestly, this woman's quite cute.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, both
they're
very
cute.
We just, I think, try the...
You know, Gary, the management consultant, really showcases his ability to manage with his constant words of affirmation. And he's just so happy with what they achieved as a team.
Then we have Donovan, who I think has basic cooking skills. He's also a very good team player and he'll make sure to try his best to play his part. I'm very proud of what we've done.
Ever the gentleman, Sam helps Dania get some butter chicken first. And of course, she had something to say about that.
Nah.
Wow, I was gonna scold you for not serving me first, but okay. I want more curry.
Social cues. Now look at Sam, he's just taken aback. Like, girl, the entitlement. Okay, so the episode ends with them going on to the next challenge the next day. And it seems like they were writing a bunch of confessions down on a slip of paper. And that's where the episode ends. So yeah, that's it for this week's recap. Not the most juicy one, but I feel like I'm in the eye of the hurricane right now, where it's the calm before the storm. Yeah, I heard it gets really ugly. So with that's it for the video. Click here for the previous episodes and click here for something else and leave a sub so you can see when the next video is out. And until next time.